What's up, welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Halsey's fifth album, The Great Impersonator. Halsey is back with her first album since the big sonic departure she gave us in 2021, the album produced by 9 Inch Nails, after all. And, leading up to that album, and certainly in the time since, and in the rollout of The Great Impersonator, Halsey has, I think, really changed in terms of her public persona and how she carries herself as an artist. I mean, she's quite famously become a new mother in the past few years, and that has not necessarily been a smooth experience for her. She gets into that on this album. And also, most notably, she's publicly revealed that she suffers from some pretty serious and ongoing autoimmune complications in terms of her personal health, namely lupus. Unsurprisingly, that stark change in her life has really colored in the subject matter of The Great Impersonator. Halsey's fifth album, The Great Impersonator, once again represents a sonic shift for the pop star. This is some of the darkest and bleakest music she's ever met, but also pretty personal and introspective in the sense that Halsey is directly commenting on her own mortality because of her ongoing chronic health conditions. Largely pretty acoustic, pretty hand-played and understated. It's not the flashiest music that Halsey's ever made, obviously far from it. Often these arrangements are quite sparse, and I think you have to be really locked into Halsey's lyrical message, her journey as a person, especially if you're a fan for some time, to really lock into this album. In the lead up to this album, Halsey has likened a song on The Great Impersonator to various pop figures of the past, such as a Kate Bush or a Dolly Parton, a Cher, etc. I think it's cool to directly point to that many touchstones, but I didn't think it necessarily increased the album's overall stature to me. And for someone who's such a raw and passionate singer, I think the sparseness of the music largely holds this album back from being something you want to sink your teeth into. You're really just left with the bleakness of the lyrics, and I think you have to be pretty invested in that to want to stick with it. That's not to say there's not highlights on this album. Like the first single, Ego, had me pretty excited for the album because Ego is a, pop punk song in the vein of some of the coolest songs she's made recently, such as 3 a.m. or her feature on Machine Gun Kelly's Forget Me Too. Halsey has the energy and the spunk and the vocal chops to pull off, pop punk and then the revival it's having in the mainstream sense lately, a la Olivia Rodrigo. Like, she can do that. And I was looking forward to hearing that a bit more on this album. You really don't get it much apart from Ego. The song Lucky certainly stood out to me, perhaps unsurprisingly invoking both in title and interpolating the chorus of Britney Spears' iconic song Lucky. But I think Halsey does a really good job using that. I thought Darwinism was also pretty interesting. You had these haunting keys in the beginning that immediately took me to a really specific place, namely Heathens by 21 Pilots. I did not expect to get that feeling, but it was immediately brought to that, just the faintest similarity of the melody in that brief moment in the song. There's other stuff though that I just had a hard time with, Hometown is this folk acoustic song. It really wasn't for me. Dog Years I thought was conceptually interesting, but just kind of meh as a song overall. A song like Only Girl, it's acoustic for the majority of it, and the kick drum eventually kicks in and gives the song some new life. The end is incredibly understated and unsurprisingly pretty morbid. I think more than anything for me, conceptually this album is actually just a bit thin musically for me. I mean, clearly the lyrics and the message in terms of Halsey, this is the album she had to make, and it's almost like a therapeutic exercise for her in a certain sense. That makes complete sense. But I think just musically, even she's pointing to all these various touchstones, but it just doesn't really come together for me enough, I think, due to its sparseness. And I contrast it to the last album, If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power. That felt like such a, thematically consistent piece. And I just don't think we have that this time around. And yeah, at this point, clearly Halsey has been grappling with her fame. On this album, she speaks about even if she can even trust some of her own friends. She's certainly been going through it mentally, not to mention, again, physically with her health. So really not sure what to expect of her moving forward. Of course, she's pretty certified as a pop star at this point. Look no further than the massive success of Without Me. But from someone who had some pretty humble beginnings on Tumblr and he was able to organically build that into a massive and devoted fan base and then take that to actual mainstream pop success, it's a unexpected, new diversion where we went down a new road here. I just didn't see it coming. And again, Halsey didn't see all these health issues coming and the grappling with the postpartum nature of her becoming a mother and all that. Of course, goes without saying. But yeah, it's just an interesting place to be for an artist. So yeah, I think you have to be pretty invested in the Halsey journey, and also I think have to be a pretty big fan of this kind of sparser, lighter, often acoustic-driven music to, I think, latch onto this album in comparison to some of her past works. But we know, what did you think of Halsey's Great Impersonator? Did you like this album more than me, perhaps? What was your favorite song? Let me know. And for more music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.